The way that you create the fastest transformation in your life is by changing who you're being. And what this means essentially is how you think and feel about yourself. And so, an example of that is if you want to have more money, you have to start pretending, meaning you have to start thinking and being the version of you who has more money. Now, a lot of people get this confused with acting as if. Acting as if is a very different thing, okay? Acting as if is, taking actions or dressing up more like you're richer or, spending more money like you have more money. That's not what I'm talking about. You don't have to do any of that stuff, okay? If you do, it's fine. If it helps you, it's fine. It actually does help in many cases, so it's not a bad thing. But you don't have to do any of that. You don't have to act as if. All you have to do is think and feel as if, right? And essentially it's thinking as if, which will produce the feeling, which I think is super important because there's a lot of debate right now in the manifestation world, in the personal development world, about whether it's just your thoughts or whether you have to feel or not. And I just want to say what's worked for me. So from when I can remember, when I started using these tools several years ago, when I learned the concept of being the version of you who has those results now, I mean, my mind exploded. I was like, what? I was like, that's so crazy and cool. Let me try that. And as I started being that version of me, meaning thinking like them, and your thoughts create your feelings, right? Your thoughts and actions, they create vibrations in your body. So when you're thinking something, you're going to feel a certain way. And I think of feelings, like Abraham Hicks says, is just an indicator of your thoughts, right? In many cases. Now, I'm not saying that I, agree with everyone and all these teachers 100%, but I pick and choose what makes sense to me and what actually works. And so I think that if you can think and feel like you're a richer person, then you will start to have more money in your life. It has to happen. It's going to happen. Regardless of what your circumstances, regardless of where you are now, circumstances do not matter. Do you understand? Circumstances do not matter. They just don't. And I think that so many of us have been taught in society that that's not how it works and it's not that easy. Well, look at the rest of society. I mean, listen, my heart goes out to them because I don't want people to suffer. But at the same time, I know that only people who are receptive to my message right now are going to be the ones to receive it. And then maybe you can create a domino effect and spread the message to more people. But we have to start with ourselves, right? And you have to start with yourself. So don't look at 90% of society and say, no, that's not true. If that was the case, everyone would just think and feel like they're rich. Guess what? Everyone doesn't think and feel like they're rich because they let they let circumstances determine how they're going to think and feel. So it's this perpetuating loop, right? They think and feel a certain way. They've been taught certain things by society or parents or caretakers or whatever, culture, that you have to work super hard, that life is a struggle, and that it's impossible to be rich, or that rich people are evil. So that's like another whole other issue. Like, we don't want to be rich. When I say rich, I just mean someone who can have a comfortable life, right? Let's start there. Someone who can comfortably pay their bills, have a life of freedom, do what they want when they want, right? And then from there, there's different levels of income and different levels of wealth, right? But I consider that just, having more money in general to do the things you want, to live the life that you want, okay? So all you have to do is start thinking and feeling. So when I started doing this several years ago, I remember I was on a walk and I heard this concept on a podcast. And I mean, we've always been doing it. We've always been creating with our thoughts and feelings, and of course actions, right? But we don't realize that we're doing it. We always think that, we're a victim of circumstances, and there's a lot of emphasis on action, and that's not a bad thing. Like, action is why we're here. We're here as humans in the physical form to take action, right? It's not a bad thing, but when you take action from a place of thinking and feeling like, oh yeah, but this action's only going to get this, or if I have to do all this action to get this result, that's exactly what's going to happen. Which is why so many people take a lot of action and they're not making a good money, they're not abundant, they're not living the life of freedom that they want, and they're like, how are these other people who are taking as much action as me just having such an amazing life? That's the secret, is because they are being the version of themselves. They think and feel like the version of themselves who already is rich, who has more money, who has more abundance. That's it. That is the secret. From there, everything else flows. Now, from there, they may like when you become that version of you, you literally, listen, there's infinite versions of you that exist. When you become that version of you, you will gain the skills, you will gain the ability to take action you need to take to build more money, or opportunities or money will just flow into your experience. And I constantly, I've had both happen to me, right? So that's just really, really important. Being that version of you is super, super important. Okay. So I want you to, like, if money is something that you want more of, if freedom is something you want more of, I want you to start thinking and feeling like you're the person who has more money. If it helps you, if it makes you feel more excited, I would use excitement. If it helps you feel more excited or confident or grounded in the truth of it, that you can put a number to it, like, oh, I have this much money, or I'm a millionaire, or I'm this, or I'm that, do that, okay? Do whatever excites you, and then you just have to practice being that version of you now in this moment. That's it. Now, your bank account will reflect something else, and that's totally fine, okay? My bank account reflected something totally different too, but in my mind, I kept being delusional and I kept pretending to be that version. So when I say thinking and feeling, for me, feeling also is like just something I feel in my body. And people get this confused with, thinking you have to feel high vibe, you have to feel happy, you have to feel like you're jumping off the walls. You don't have to do any of that. You don't, okay? Because if you already had that money, yes, initially maybe you'll feel happy, maybe you'll feel grateful throughout the day, but honestly, if people who have that money, like the amount of money you have, you're just like, it's there. You get used to it after a while, right? So you'll feel a certain vibration in your body if you do this correctly. And if you don't feel a vibration or a shift, don't freak out. Don't think you're not doing it correctly, right? I would much rather you just think as if you're someone who has more money and who's rich and who doesn't have to worry about money, who has no money problems. Start thinking of yourself as that person, and the feelings will automatically come, right? Like it's very subtle, right? It's very hard to explain as well, but it's just very subtle, like just something you'll feel in your body, like, oh, I am this person. Sometimes I'll take a deep breath to kind of step into that state, like, sorry, I'm sick right now, I'm congested, it's just probably what you can hear. But just take a deep breath, and then boom, I'm that person. And you don't have to take a deep breath either. Sometimes you can be like, oh yeah, who am I? And one of the questions I ask myself is, who am I? Right? So when I wake up in the morning or throughout the day, when I forget, when I'm not being in that identity, when I'm not being that version of me who's living in that identity, which is essentially what it is, identity, I ask myself, who are you? And then I remind myself, I am this, right? So for you, you can be like, who are you? I'm a rich person. Who are you? I'm a millionaire. Who are you? I have financial freedom. Who are you? I never have to worry about money. Who are you? I'm the guy who always has more money than he wants or needs, right? So you just pick something that, again, makes you feel relief or excitement or happiness around that topic, right? Some of you are in such terrible financial situations, I've been there, that you may not like be feeling excited, may be kind of far off because you're just like, that's impossible because I'm just really stressed. So maybe the next level for you is relief. What would make you feel relief, right? Oh, like if I was the version of me right now who had this much money, or I didn't have to worry about money or whatever it is, then just be that version of you now. And I cannot emphasize this enough. There's doing and there's being, and both are important, but I really want to emphasize the being part. Be that version of you. Be that version of you. Be that version of you. Continuously pretend to be that version of you. And I say pretend, it's not even pretending for other people, because in the beginning, when I was learning these concepts, it helped for me to act as if a little bit, for sure. I think it's a cool feeling also to go out into the world and to be that version of you. So I still practice that, but it's more internal, right? It doesn't matter who gives a fuck how people see you right now and how you show up for them. This is an internal game, right? It's all here and here. That's it. So you want to show up as someone who is being that version, who already has all the wealth, who has the money, who has the freedom. And I promise you, as you do, one of two things or both things will happen. Like I said, you'll just start to get ideas, and then you'll start to be the person who creates that, or opportunities, money, and all that abundance will flow into your life from unexpected sources, right? And you guys have had weird manifestations happen like that, right? Like just really cool stuff from unexpected sources. So get used to that, because that's what's going to start happening. But you have to essentially be that person, which means to think and feel as if you are them. That's it, right? Like right now, if I'm being like the next version of me that I want to become when it comes to wealth, I'm just thinking and feeling as that version of him now. Ooh, my voice got deeper as I said that, right? Because that's how I envision myself, with like more abundance, I guess. Right? So it's kind of a cool exercise. So you should do this. And people ask, like, how often, whatever. It's just whenever you remember it. I think when you wake up, you should remind yourself throughout the day, especially when you're working, especially when the topic of money comes up. Remind yourself, right? And you can take care of what you need to take care of in the real world, but then in your mind, always go back to, no, this is who I am being. This is who I am. All right? You got this.